think
Wait,
the American public
excuse me,
would,
but there's
would be
no
watching.
connection to President Biden. So what, can you explain that? What are you talking about?
Well, yeah, well, yes, ma'am, there is. This latest transaction, there absolutely is. And there's a monthly payment.
Wait, are
from
you
one of the
talking about the
companies that
$1,380 transaction, the car payment reimbursement?
Well, now that's what they're calling it, but actually I was actually
No, that's what
talking
the committee put out a receipt that shows it's a reimbursement for a car payment. And
Well,
also
the
some of
first
the
one I
other, the
talked about
ways
is
in
in
which you're
fact-
characterizing some of the things about the involvement, it's just not as clear cut as you are characterizing it to be. So let me.
Are you going to let me talk?
Well, I am going to
Are you
make.
gonna let me talk, or should
I am.
interrupt you?
I did
You're
let
not
you
allowing
speak.
me to speak, man.
Well, Congressman,
No,
with
you're
all due
not,
respect,
man.
I
You're
did let.
talking over me. I know. This is CNN,
No,
and that's what you all
no,
are
you're
supposed to
speaking
do.
over me,
I
sir. With
understand
all due,
your ratings, man.
with all due
Eventually, you're
respect,
gonna have to
I let you
American
speak,
people
and
the
then
truth.
I clarified just to be clear about what you were saying. So then let me ask you this, and I will let you speak. Since you're saying, that so much of this has to do with President Biden, although there is no evidence of that, will the Oversight Committee subpoena him?
Will the Oversight Committee subpoena who? President Biden or Hunter? I don't know. At some point, I suspect that could happen, but I doubt he would show, and I doubt Hunter is going to show now that he has officially been indicted for tax evasion and arms, having a pistol when he was in fact on drugs. But back to my previous point, there is a clear line between the Communist China $5 million investment with Hunter Biden. Ma'am, the only qualification he has, as far as I can see, or job on a job application is hookers and crack cocaine. Let's just be honest. This guy is bad news.
The receipts you're talking about, released by the Oversight Committee, released by, Republican-led entities here, it's very clear what they're about. I just think we should be very clear about what they are. To that point, that's very important, because it's not what you're making it out to be. Now, that's not to say that you might not find something. If you did, certainly we would be very interested in exploring that. But let's just be clear about what is out there now and call it what it is. And I don't know, you call that a talking point, but we're just following the facts here as they are at this moment in time.
The facts are, ma'am, Hunter Biden and the Biden crime family have received over $30 million. He has no qualifications. The president said, you can go back and review the tapes. He said, I did not talk to my son about any of his business dealings. Yet we have sworn testimony in Congress of a man who said that Hunter literally handed the phone around to members of the board. You also have the president say that he did not invest. He was not invested or anything with any of the communist Chinese. $5 million, and that money flows from Hunter through one of his shell corporations to Hunter's uncle, the president's brother, and then you see a $40,000 check to the president of the United States, or to President Joe Biden, or then Vice President Joe Biden. So, ma'am, I mean, what qualifications are there? Where is this money coming from? Why are they paying? They're paying for influence. Let's be honest.
That's a different topic.
These business transactions took place.
Hunter Biden's qualifications, you can ask about that. Well, I'm out of time now, sir, in fairness, but I just have to be clear. Right now, there is not that connection that you're alleging to the president, and certainly that's something that should be explored if it were there.
Your ability to talk over me,
well, I'm out of time now, sir. I'm out of time. I'm sorry, you said some of the same things 3 times, and if you didn't do that, we would have more time, sir. But that's where we are. We're out of time now.
This is CNN's Breonna Kyler holding Republican lawmaker Tim Burchett to account after he apparently forgot that he wasn't talking to Sean Hannity or Maria Bartiromo. And the crux of his argument is this, that Joe and Hunter Biden were involved in some wide-ranging influence peddling scheme and that the evidence is mounting by the day. Of course, back in reality, there's one minor issue. There is not a single piece of actual evidence that exists to prove his point. In fact, in this very segment, Burchett frames a car payment reimbursement as some piece of smoking gun evidence sinking Joe Biden. A car payment reimbursement. I mean, I'm sorry, but what the fuck are we doing here? Republicans are trying to impeach Joe Biden because he helped Hunter buy a car one time and Hunter was paying him back? At this point, I'm sure Joe covered Hunter's middle school lunches, so why not recommend articles of impeachment for that? And let's be clear, I get that Burchett wants to cast doubt on the fact that it was a car payment by saying stuff like, oh, that's what they're calling it. But this isn't some liberal plot to protect Joe Biden. The first reporting about this issue was in the New York Post, a conservative news outlet. And that's a point that Jamie Raskin pointed out when he had already refuted this whole absurd conspiracy theory when James Comer spouted off about it last week. Raskin took to Twitter writing, Chair Comer is digging up old public reporting, distorting the facts, and presenting it as breaking news. As a private citizen, Joe Biden made car payments for his son, who paid him back. It's right here in the New York Post. And then Raskin included a screenshot of proof about the car payment. He continued, and there's more. Here's an email from the laptop Republicans love talking about. It shows Hunter paying his dad back for his truck. Ford Raptor reimbursement to JRB, Joseph Robinette Biden, $1,380. And then Raskin included that email, again explaining the payment. And finally, Raskin finished, if Chairman Comer had any actual evidence of wrongdoing by President Biden, he would not repeatedly resort to distorting the facts and recycling Trump-Giuliani conspiracy theories. But of course, he has no evidence of wrongdoing, and so his only option is to resort to distorting the facts and recycling conspiracy theories. And Tim Burchett, apparently unwilling to let James Comer humiliate himself alone, seems perfectly content to take part in the public flogging. And look, I want to be clear about something. Yes, this whole thing is absolutely asinine, and yes, Republicans absolutely know that there is zero crime here. But the point isn't the facts of this case. The point is the narrative. It is getting out there on TV and in the news every single day and repeating the refrain that Joe Biden is corrupt, that he sold influence to China, that he concocted some master plan alongside his son Hunter to enrich them both. It is all nonsense, but they know that if they repeat it enough, it'll eventually start to stick. And why do they know that? Because they've done it before. Think about it. By the time Republicans were done attacking Hillary Clinton's use of a private email server, there wasn't a single person on the right who A, wasn't aware of it, and B, didn't think that her actions constituted the gravest national security threat in the history of America. The whole point is manipulation, and Republicans are acutely aware of that. And so my message to Republican voters is this: have some self-respect and recognize that your elected officials are lying to you. And they're doing it not because they care about you or want to help you, but because manipulating you helps them consolidate their grip on power. They know that if they can trick you into thinking Biden helping his kid buy a car is an impeachable offense, then it'll help them get him out of the White House. This is about them and their ambition, and they're using you as a pawn in their pursuit of power. So I have zero doubt that Republicans will continue to perpetuate this bullshit narrative, not because there's some legitimate reason to do so, but because they have that much contempt for their own supporters, that they would rather concoct an imaginary fairy tale and sell it to their base than bother being honest, or even more unlikely, governing. This is low-rent community theater performed by a bunch of losers who don't have a platform, and so instead they feed off the manufactured outrage of the suckers who trust them. If you were looking for the culmination of a broken political party, you don't have to look further than today's GOP. Before you go, I need some help. Please subscribe to the channel and do your part to help grow the progressive media ecosystem. I don't do sponsorships or paid ads, I won't ask for money, but just subscribing to this channel goes a really long way, and it helps get the message out to more people. The subscribe button is right here on the screen. You can also subscribe to my Spanish language channel, which I made to reach those crucial Spanish-speaking voters. That link is on the screen too. And finally, if you want to listen to my audio podcast, you can follow that link as well. Thanks so much for watching.